Look, someone sent us a road bike to do a review. See, it's got skinny tires and this wonky handlebar thing. And look, no dropper post. This definitely has to be a road bike. But what's this? It's got a suspension fork, and look at the seat stays. They're like hinged. Strange. What is this? Welcome to EMTB videos. It is the Topstone for gravel grinding. The Cannondale Topstone Neo Carbon is an electric gravel bike. Even though we are all about EMTBs, we used to know a thing or two about road bikes. But we haven't paid much attention to road bike development for the last decade. Back then, the endurance bikes were becoming a thing, with slacker angles, taller front ends and a longer wheelbase. The gravel bike seems to be a development of the endurance bike. So the gravel bikes don't resemble the cyclocross bikes much, even though they are sort of built for similar riding surfaces. Speaking of cyclocross, I brought in Håkon for this test. He in fact owns a proper, real-life actual cyclocross bike. The Topstone Neo 3 is a full suspension electric gravel bike. The lefty Oliver fork offers 30mm of suspension travel, and the rear axle has 30mm of travel too. There is built-in flex in the rear frame. The tires are wide compared to a road bike. They're 42mm and size 650B. That's 27.5 inches. The rear derailleur of the Shimano GRX drivetrain has even got a clutch, and the Shimano disc brakes are nice. It's even got the Bosch Performance CX EMTB motor. As far as I can tell, very few of these bikes use the most powerful motors. It seems the smaller 30 to 60 Nm motors are more common. This is looking very mountain bikey. So, is this full suspension gravel bike up for the trails? Well, that depends on the definition. It didn't feel very full suspension when we visited our regular trails. Sure, the relatively wide handlebars aided control, and the brakes were several leagues above the rim brakes I used to ride. But we didn't really feel the suspension was of much help. We were standing up everywhere. Our center of gravity was way too high for trails. We wish we had a dropper post. Cannondale says a dropper post could be fitted, and I would probably do that. Something like the new Pro 100mm XC dropper post at just 400 grams would be nice. It's not just for riding trails. Dropping the seat as low as possible is a safe and easy way of being aerodynamic when descending. We tried different trails to see what suited the bike, and while we may be spoiled from riding full suspension EMTBs, we didn't really find any trails that suited the Topstone Neo 3. Sure, it handled many of the trails, but it wasn't really fun. If you ride on a gravel road, and there are bits of trail connecting you to new stretches of gravel, then this is a great tool. The suspension isn't useless. We compared it against the Cannondale Topstone Carbon 2. This has the same 30mm flex in the rear frame, but it's got a rigid carbon fork, and it's got narrower 37mm 28-inch tires. The suspension of the Topstone 3 was indeed taking out a lot of the sting from the road feedback. The wider tires probably deserve credit for that too. We see other brands going with even wider 45mm tires, and we imagine those could further improve comfort. The Topstone Neo bikes are comfortable all-day cruisers, and the 500 Wh in-tube battery offers great range to keep you going for several hours, even in the highest motor setting. We're pedaling a lot at either about 26 or 35 km per hour. On the flats, at 35 km per hour, we're not using any battery, of course. That's way over the 25 km cutoff speed. At 26, we're getting some motor help. The bike doesn't cut entirely until 27 km per hour. But the motor isn't delivering much power at that speed. The powerful Bosch motor is really easy to control. There is no twitching or sudden surges of power, not even around cutoff speed. We wouldn't worry about riding these bikes in a peloton. Both the Topstone Neo 2 and 3 roll so well. They pedal so easily above cutoff speed. We are doing much more of the work ourselves, compared to what we're used to on the full suspension EMTBs. And it doesn't feel like a lot of work. We're not pushing hard. If we struggle to get over 28, we ease off and go 26 instead. It's such an effective way of traveling. We keep the speed up while having a chill ride. It feels like I could ride all day, Håkon said. He goes on to say he'd prefer the Topstone 2. It's just such a pleasant bike. The big wheels adds to the stability. And I have to say I agree. I really enjoyed the Topstone 2. It reminded me a lot of my road bike days. Just getting on the bike, it felt so nice, so familiar. And when I've already got an EMTB, it makes sense complementing it with a slightly less burly Topstone 2.